Today we're going to do another little activity. So this past few weeks in the hopes with the computer science week that's happening, we're going to do some couple activities that are related with coding just to, you know, get you guys a bit familiar with some coding and also just to know like the different types of languages that there is. For example, I know yesterday there was streaming and that one was for a Java game. So for this one today, the activity is going to be pretty simple. But before I start, I'm just gonna go ahead and introduce myself. So my name is Nian, and I'm also a student here at the University of Ottawa. And today I will be presenting you guys a little Scratch activity. So Scratch is more for the younger kids, but it's still a very fun interactive game. So to get started, it's pretty simple today. I will explain the game that we're gonna do, but to get started, we're gonna go ahead and connect ourselves to the page of Scratch. So do that. So I have my Google page right here. I'll show you guys how we're going to go to Scratch. So it's very simple. You just write Scratch and you hit enter. And then it should be just this first option. The page is in French. I'll just show you guys where we usually go to change the language, and it's usually at the bottom of the page when you scroll down, and then you see here there's options to change the language. So you just press English, and that should change that should change your whole page. So this is a Scratch page. So Scratch is usually, I think, for elementary students. And today we're just gonna learn how the page work, how it's an easy way for kids to understand coding, and it doesn't really use any complex languages. It uses block coding. To begin, usually you have an option to sign in or join Scratch or make an account, but you can also use it without having an account, and you can just begin by pressing start creating. It's going to load. All right, so this is our main page of where we're going to do the whole game and the whole programming. This is just a little tutorial. We're not going to go through it usually, but if you guys on your own time have time to go through the tutorial, it just shows you how the page works and it explains to you simply how to get started with the simple instructions. So we're going to go through that ourselves. And just to start this, like whenever we see Scratch is like a simple language code or a simple coding, it's because it's something that is called a visual programming language. And the reason why it's a visual programming language, when you look at these categories here, they're filtered by colors, and also it's different categories that help you actually to make your game work. So whenever you like have a block, you can see specifically what the block is going to do. So that's why it's something that is like it's a visual way for kids to understand coding. So it's very easy because you just drag and drop the blocks. Here, if we do a quick rundown of the page itself, here there's some bars at the top, and then if you press X on the tutorial, you can see more tutorials here when you press tutorial here, and then there's many options. And then also here in settings, you still have the option to change the language if you want, and you can also change the color of your page. Now on this left hand side of your page, this is where you see the different categories that are also filtered by color, like I said, and they have all the blocks that you can use throughout your whole game. Here it's costume where you can actually edit the little pieces or the little characters that you put on your game. And then here there's also different sounds. And on this middle side, this is actually where you're going to drop all your blocks. So you will see we're going to use that later on when we start the game. And then here on the right hand side of your page, this is where you see actually your screen of your game, or your programming screen, where you're going to see everything that you're going to ask your character to do, or everything that you're going to code. You will see it on this screen. Now this is like a little settings space where you can actually edit the settings that are related to the character that you're using at the moment. And on this little side right here, this is where you can control any background that you want to put in your game. And like, you can press this, you will see we're going to use that later. We can press this, we can edit the background, we can also edit the characters and add more characters. So this is just simply how the page works. Now that's it for the page. So I'll just go ahead and remove this character. It won't be the character that we're using today. Just want to start fresh. So now everything is just empty and we're good to start. Alright, so the game today, it's a very simple game. We're going to program a little doggy, a little dog in a park, and the dog is just going to be chasing his food. So the dog, we're going to program it in a way that the dog lets us know that the dog is hungry. And then once we see that the dog is hungry, we can feed it by clicking or pressing on the food on the screen, and then the dog is just going to follow the food, and then so on and so forth. So we're going to have different pieces, and we're going to have different ways for the dog to let us know that he's hungry, and for us to have the action to leading the dog to his food. Now, to do that, I just want to start by changing my background, and I'm going to change it to put the dog in a little park. So we're going to be working in a park today. So to do that, there's here a button that says choose backdrop. Just go here. And then here there's different categories. And right now, if I say a park, I'm working with the category of outdoors. So right now I'm outside. Just press outdoors. And then I'm going to look for my park that I want to use today. And it should be right around here. All right, so once I press the background that I wanted, it's a little park, it's a little bench in a park. Now this is the background, and the next step after this, I'm going to choose my doggy, so my dog character. So I just press here. So the button I press here at the bottom, it's the button that helps you choose a character or choose a sprite. I press here. And then right now I'm looking for a dog. I'm going to go in the animal category, and I'm going to look for my dog that I want to use. So right now I want to use the blue dog. So there's many characters, as you can see right here. Me, I'm just going to be using my dog 2. So the name right here, it's dog 2. You guys can change the name if you want, but me, I'm just going to leave it to dog 2. Doesn't really matter which name you're using, but that's my character today. So right here, when I press the doggy on the screen, I can actually move him around. So I can move him around and put him wherever I want to put him. So I want to put him at the edge of the bench. That's going to be our starting point. So if you wanted to put him at the beginning, you can put him here. If you want to put him here, you can also put him there. And if you look at here, the coordinates of the position of the dog, they're written right here. So whenever you want to put him, like say you put him in the center, you're going to see that these numbers are going to change. So these are the numbers that let you know where's the dog on your page right here. This, you can change the size, you can make him even smaller if you change it to 50, and then you can also change his direction where he's looking at. He could be looking down, he can be looking here, etc., so on and so forth. Now I'm just going to put him back to where he was. So he was at 90 and he was at 100. So that is my dog right here. Now the first step, let's program my dog. Okay. When we go here down to events, there's a block that's called when the green flag is pressed. When this green flag is clicked, this is like your start button of your game. So this is the go button. So I'm just going to put it here, And this tells me, this is the block that says when the green flag is clicked, and then I'm going to fill up what I want to happen in my game. So when the green flag is clicked, I want my dog to tell me his name. So I can come here. So I want him to speak. So I wanted to say, oh, hi, my name is, and then he's going to say his name. So say, for example, in order for it to speak, I'm just going to come here. In looks, there is a place that says say hello for 2 seconds. So this is a speak block. I'm just going to take it, I'm gonna drag it and put it here. And I want my doggy to tell me, oh, hi, my name is this and this and this. So I'm just going to write this. So I'm gonna say hi. Yeah, and I'm just going to say my name is Buddy. All right, so that right there, that's our first block. So the first thing that's gonna happen when we press go, the dog is going to tell us, oh, hi, my name is Buddy, and he's only going to tell this to us for 2 seconds. So the name, when the dog is speaking, he's only gonna speak for 2 seconds. Now, the next thing that I want my dog to tell me is to tell me how hungry he is. So right now, we said, hi, my name is Buddy, but now I want to see how hungry is the dog. So does the dog need to be fed, or does the dog doesn't need to be fed at the moment? No worries, we're going to do that. Now, to keep track of how hungry is the dog, we're going to use something that's called a variable. So a variable, we're going to use that variable in order to see for how long has the dog been hungry. So say, for example, we make a variable is going to have, and so every 5 seconds we're going to count by one and say, oh, the dog has been hungry one time, the dog is hungry 2 times. Every 5 seconds is going to go up unless the dog eats. So we're going to do that. We're just going to make a variable, and we're just going to call it hunger. Now once you make the variable hunger, it should show up on your page right here. And there's this block that says set hunger to 0. We're just going to set it to 0 when we start initially, because we just started the game, so the dog is not really that hungry at the beginning. So we set hunger to 0. And then now I'm going to put a loop that's going to check constantly non-stop without stopping, a loop that's going to check constantly if the dog is hungry or not. Now, do a loop, you're just going to come here in control, and there's a forever block right here. This is what it does. It's going to repeat the code forever, meaning not stopping at all. And what I want to do is I just want to put a little wait, so a little stop before we start, and then check the hunger. So we're going to wait 5 seconds. 5 seconds the dog hasn't eaten, we're going to change hunger by 1, meaning we're going to say, oh, 1 strike, the dog is hungry. After another 5 seconds, 2 strikes, the dog is hungry. So we're just going to wait 5 seconds. And then once we wait 5 seconds, we're going to go to variable, and then we're going to change the hunger by 1. Meaning at the beginning, the hunger is 0. 5 seconds later, if the dog has not eaten, we're going to change hunger by 1. So this is the first beginning of our code. Okay, that is good. Now, the next step after we have told the dog, okay, is the dog hungry or not? No worries. We're going to do the next step. What's gonna happen when I want my dog to go eat? So this lets me know if the dog is hungry or not. Now I want to do the action when the dog is going to get the food. So when the dog is going to get the food right now. So when the dog is running. So everything, you need to think of this like the computer has no idea what you're doing, and you have to tell the computer every step. That's what we're going to do. So I'm going to come here in events, and I'm going to take the third block. It says when this sprite is clicked, meaning when I press because this character right here is a sprite. So when this sprite is clicked, when I press the dog, what's gonna happen? I want the dog to start running. So that's what I'm going to do. All right. So when this price click, I'm just going to play. I want the dog to like bark in a way, so I want to play sound. So I'm going to take this sound, play sound dog 1 until it's on. So it's going to play a specific sound that has already been recorded. So you guys remember this section right here at the top, it said sounds. If we go here, you can actually hear what sound is a dog making. It's like a little bark sound. So this is the sound that we're going to be using. We're going to play that sound until done. So meaning the sound is going to play completely. And then the next thing that I want to happen, I want my dog repeating this twice. So how that's gonna work, I'll show you how it's gonna work. We're going to use a repeat button. And we're gonna say we want to repeat this twice. Meaning right now, the dog is going to take a couple steps. Let's say right now, we're just going to switch costume to dog 2C. So we're going to come in looks, switch costume to dog 2C. What this does, if we go into different costumes, you're going to see that the dog has already some different costumes. And when we switch in between these costumes, this is where you can see the dog going to get his food. So we're going to switch the costume to dog 2C, say 2B. 2B is the one where the dog is walking. If you guys look at the switch in between, you guys can see that it looks like the dog is kind of like walking. We're going to switch costume to dog 2B, and then we're going to put a little weight motion, because if we don't put a weight when we're switching costumes, it's going to look like the switch is so quick that we can't really see it. So we're going to put a little wait button in order for us to see everything that's happening with the dog. So we're just here in controls, you're going to see the wait block at the top. And this time we want the wait to be, yeah, we're still waiting, but we want the wait to be less longer than 5 seconds. So we're just going to put 0.2 seconds, that's enough. And then we're going to come here and then we're going to do another switch costume. And this time we want to go to costume dog A. And then we're going to put another wait button just right here. And also 0.2 seconds. So we can test it out and see. It looks like the dog is like running. If we look at it walk, so whenever I press the dog, it's switching this twice and then stopping. So this is repeating only twice. Switch one costume, wait a couple seconds, then switch another costume, and then wait again. So that's why you guys see this. If we were to choose dog 2C, meaning this costume is going to be moving like this, this one we can press it. You can see the reaction of the dog. So it's just switching between the two costumes that we saw. So we're going to use dog 2B and dog 2A. This one is done for this code. We did this whenever we press the dog, we want to see the dog running, etc. and etc. Now, the next step that we want to do, we want to get the food. So right now we're talking about hunger, but we don't have any food in our game right now. So we're going to get the food. How you do that? There's a button that says choose a sprite. Now we're going to get a food character, like a food button. That's what we're going to do right here. Now, food, you should find it. The food that we're going to pick, you're going to find it here in this category called food. Now, there's a lot of food right here, but for me, I'm going to use a cake. So, a little cake right here. Once I press the cake character, you guys will see that the page goes blank. The reason why the page goes blank, it doesn't mean that everything I did is deleted. It just means that now it's the code of the cake. So you guys see how at the top there's a little cake? This means I haven't programmed the cake yet. If I press the dog, I will see all the code that I did, and this code is related to the little dog. Now come back to cake. Cake, it's going to be very simple. I just want to come here in events. I'm just going to say whenever I press, so I'm going to take the cake and I'm going to move it where I want it right here. And I'm going to tell the cake is whenever I press this cake, I want my dog to run and then come eat and then go back. That's what's gonna happen, and that's what we're gonna do for the food. Now, the only thing that we need for the food, we just wanna say when this sprite is clicked, meaning when the character of the cake is clicked, I just wanna broadcast a message. I wanna broadcast a message to my game, meaning I want to send a message to my game that, oh, food is available at the moment, say for example. So the message that we're going to make a new message together, and we're going to say food. So we're just going to write new message and we're going to say food. It means whenever I click my cake, I'm going to broadcast to the game food. Now, this is very important that it feels like you're sending a message out inside the game that, oh, food is available. Now, this is the only code that we need for the cake. Moving forward, we're going to come with the dog and we're going to finalize the code for the dog. Very easy. When you come here in dog, you should see you still have your two codes right now. But now I want to put another block that says when I receive food, meaning when I receive the message that was sent out into the game, the message that is called food, what's going to happen. So that's what we're going to do right now. So whenever the dog receives the message of food, I want the dog to run and reach the little cake and then go back. That's what I'm going to do. It's very simple. How you do that, how you want the dog to move from one side to another, we're just going to use so we're just going to use a little block that says glide 1 second to something, like to a random position. This one right here, it's like the 6th block in motion, and I'm going to put it right there. Now, right now it says glide for 1 second to a random position, but I don't want it to be a random position. I want my dog to glide all the way to the cake. If you pick this, you should be able to switch the cake. And now the dog should now the dog should run all the way into the cake and then go back. So right now I just did the going towards the cake. I haven't done the code to go back, but I just want to do an example. So if I press my cake, you guys should see that your dog is going to get the cake. Now we want it to go back, so we need to program it. So I'm going to ask my dog to run towards the cake, and then once it did that, I want the dog to bark. So I want the dog to make a sound like speak up, bark. So I'm just going to come here in sound. I'm going to say play sound right here until done. So it's going to run towards the cake. So if I start it again, you should see. So I'm gonna put it right here. If I do it again, the dog is coming here and then it's barking kind of. So it ran, it barked. Right now, once it reaches the cake, this means the dog has taken a bite of the cake. Meaning right after I play my sound, I want to change my hunger and put it to -1. So that's what we're going to do. So this means once the dog reaches the cake, the dog is not hungry anymore. So I'm going to put -1 to my hunger. Just gonna come here, change hunger by, I'm gonna take this block and I'm gonna put it right here. And I want to change hunger by -1, meaning we have at least taken 1 bite. After that is done, play the sound that the dog has eaten. The dog is not hungry by -1 right now. The next thing I want the whole program to take a little pause. So I want to put one wait button right here. And I'm just gonna say wait for 0.5 seconds, just quickly. So it's gonna come, it's gonna eat a little bit, and then after that, when we're done, we're going to wait a little bit and the dog is still at the cake. And then now I want the dog to go back to the position that I had said before. So the position that was like around here. So I want the dog to go back, and I want the dog to go back to this position that was like around here. So once the dog is done eating, I want the dog to go back. So how we're gonna do that, there's this glide. So there's this one that says glide for 1 second to a specific position. So I'm the one who's gonna give you guys the coordinate, specific position. Just take this block, slide it and put it right here. I said lies for 1 second, and the x position is going to be minus 62. Let me say, for example. So just around somewhere around here. Now this is everything for the game. If we review the code that we did for our buddy, so our dog, at the beginning when we press the green flag, the dog is going to say its name, and then it's going to be the hunger is going to be at 0, and every single time that we don't feed the dog, the hunger is going to keep going up. Now whenever we click the dog is gonna like run for a little bit. So whenever you press the dog is gonna run for a little. Just run in the same place and not go anywhere, and then do that bark noise. Now, when it comes to the food, this is where we have the cake. So for the cake, the only code that the cake needs is whenever I press the cake, it's going to broadcast the message, and the message, we call the message food. Now, whenever we say broadcast, it's something that is sent out in the air, kind of. So we're going to broadcast food to the whole game. So right now it's like, oh, food is available for the dog. You can come and eat. And then when the dog hears that message, so when the dog receives the message that food is available, the dog is going to slide for 1 second all the way to the cake, and then it's going to bark. And then because now the dog is at the cake, it's going to change. Sorry, it's going to change hunger by -1. And then once it changes hunger by -1, we're just going to wait for a couple of seconds, and then the dog is just going to go back to its initial position. So now we can start the game. I just want to put this in full screen. So if we start the game right here, the dog said, "Hi, my name is Buddy," and then now the dog is waiting right here. If I press the dog, you guys are gonna see the dog is running in place, but it's not going anywhere. But you guys should see here at the top, there's a number that keeps going up, because right now the dog is hungry and it's not being fed at the moment. So three strikes, 4 strikes, and then another 5 strikes. But now I'm seeing the dog is pretty hungry, 5 strikes and whatnot. I'm going to go let my dog eat. So it's gonna eat. It's going to bring it to -1. So 5 -1, bring it down. Another again, so bring it down again. And then again it's down to 4. But you should let the dog eat a lot if you want the dog to really go back down to 0. Go down, 2 strikes, 2 strikes, 1 strike, 1 strike, and then I will back down to 0, meaning the dog is not that hungry anymore and it's at its initial position. And that is how the game works today. This was just a simple game of Scratch. It was very easy. This is very for like lower grades, so it's very easy to do it with younger kids, and it's very easy for them to understand it. Around grade 3, grade 4, they're pretty much able to do some of this code right now because it's not very, very complex. All that I had for you guys, but I just want to show you guys a little page that we have that usually you can see more of these games and you can actually do them on your own. So there's an explore page right here. This is the link. It's written just under here in the banner. You should see many other activities that you could do with your kids at the moment. So there's some activities that you can choose. You can pick a topic, and then right now we can be doing some coding, we can be doing some Scratch coding, Python coding. And if you go to Scratch category, you can just skip grade selection, and then you're going to see many other Scratch little games that you could do with your classes, and that you can, if it's parents, that you can do with your kids. This is it's very easy. Games are easy to know. So this is a way for you guys, or like anyone that wants to actually get experience with like some little coding topics. So that's everything that I have for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. and the link is still in the banner right there. You guys can just copy it and visit it later on. And I hope you guys enjoyed it, and